everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle Age Guys, and we are going to continue on with our episodic reviews of everything Young Justice. We are on episode number 25 of season number 1, and it is entitled The Usual Suspects. Before we get any further, let me go ahead and get the introductions out of the way. I am the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Season number 1, episode number 25, Young Justice, The Usual Suspects, or Usual Suspects, originally aired out in April 14 of 2012. Like usual, folks, episodes nearly 6 years old. We're not going to go ahead and give you any sort of spoiler warnings. You're just going to have to assume that from now on. Because within this particular review, after a short synopsis, we're going to cover what we liked, what we didn't like, or if there are any details that we would like to change. And then the third talking point is usually if there was anything we saw that was laid down as a reference to anything that's coming up to a future storyline or future episode coming up in the future. Yeah, that's a lot of things in the future. Those are the types of things that we're going to talk about, okay? With all of that out of the way, let me go ahead and let me get the synopsis taken care of. Season 1, episode 25 opens up with the newest members of the Justice League being presented out to the public in front of the Hall of Justice. Basically, you have Icon, Plastic Man, Red Arrow, and Dr. Fate, and the Atom, those 5, all being inducted into the Hall of Justice, into the Justice League, in front of the Hall of Justice in this huge press conference and everything else. And, you know, the sidekicks, or the former sidekicks, are sitting there inside the Hall of Justice, awaiting to see, you know, basically for everybody to go ahead and clear out from the press conference. During which time, Robin receives an alert saying, hey, look, they've just caught tail of a clue of Cheshire being shown up. She was recognized and on her face recognition. She boarded a plane. She was carrying a suitcase that looks like very eerily similar to one of the cases that they lost a hold of during the Insecurity episode that happened, you know, basically 2 episodes before. So what they do is that the team, who, you know, consisting of everybody's there, Aqualad, Kid Flash, Artemis, Zatanna, Robin, Superboy, Miss Martian, and Rocket, who was waiting for Icon to go ahead and finish his induction ceremony. All right, they all go off to go ahead and scope this out. Turns out they find the plane that Cheshire has boarded. It's crash landed basically in the Rocky Mountains. All right. And while searching around for like remnants of, okay, where's the case? Where's Cheshire and everything else? And it turns out that it's a huge ambush. They're being ambushed by the folks like, you know, other folks who've worked with Light, like, let's see here, the Riddler, Edward Nygma, Shimmer, Blockbuster. They're all there to go ahead and pretty much put an end to these meddling kids' plans and everything. All right?
Where are the bodies?
Here's one. And it is stunning.
I am flora, not fauna. I am foliage, not trees. What am I? Come on, you can get this. I am shrubbery, not grass. What am I? I am bush.
This starts a huge battle, of which the young heroes, they go ahead and they prevail. They recover the suitcase and everything else. And during that time, you know, after they recover the suitcase and they bring it back to the cave, you know, they meet up with their elder mentors in the Justice League, and Batman actually sits there and goes, okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You hacked Justice League signal and security programs. You intercepted a security update that said where Cheshire was at. You went after her, disregarding any sort of warnings that we would have given you beforehand. And during that time, you apprehended Cheshire and a whole bunch of members of the Light and other people that they were working with. And you recovered the tech that we were mysteriously trying to figure out what they were working on. Does that sound right? And they're like, well, yeah. It's like, well, good job, all right?
Tell me if this sounds familiar. You hacked League systems, disobeyed protocol, and endangered your lives. And your initiative resulted in the capture of 3 escaped felons, proving Warden Strange runs Bel Rev as a cover for criminal activity. Well done.
He actually congratulates them straight out, pretty much marking as a milestone. Hey, look, from the beginning of the season up until this point, you guys are doing great work, and this is definitely some of your best work. All right. They take the technology up to the watchtower. They're going to go ahead. They're going to take care of analyzing it there. In the meantime, while the team is alone with trying to debrief and trying to make sense of the whole issue and everything, it kind of comes up that they're explaining the whole mole situation to Rocket, who has just been introduced to everything. Right at that time, Superboy, through his super hearing, gets a signal from Lex Luthor, hey, meet me at Santa Prisca, all right? Not knowing at that time that also, basically Artemis is getting the same fucking message around the same time, and Miss Martian is getting the same message. So all of them show up in Santa Prisca. Turns out that you have Lex Luthor, Queen Bee, Sportsmaster, and other members of the Light. They've got some huge thing planned up in their head that they're going to go ahead and they're going to enact. They need these kids as part of their plan. Well, it turns out that the kids are kind of wise to the plan because they've given up all their details about what they've been hiding, and then they end up foiling their plans as far as what they wanted them to do next. All right, basically emancipating themselves from any sort of blackmail or control that they have from, their elder past, antagonists. All right, they come back to the cave saying, yeah, hey, things are good. We figured out that, look, none of us were the mole, but there were certain things that were going on that we uncovered and that have come to light and everything else that we know about each other. So we're not hiding any secrets anymore. And then the episode finishes up showing the folks in the Justice League all under the mind control of the biotechnology pieces that were brought up to the Watchtower in order to be analyzed. And then they invite Vandal Savage, which you can then assume that the rest of the Light was coming up there to the Watchtower to go ahead and take over things. And in the very, very end, it's shown that, guess what? Red Arrow, Speedy, was the mole all along. And that's where the episode ends. All right? I think that pretty much covers everything, right? I didn't leave any thread loose out there. All right. So with that all out of the way, and that's pretty much the table as it's set for this particular episode, we're going to go ahead and cover just the first talking point. What did you like about this particular episode, guys? Floor is open.
2 battle scenes, speeding up the story. I mean, damn, what else could you have asked for here on a superhero cartoon? I really like this cartoon because, again, you had 2 battle scenes that really fucking meant something, and then expanding the story, and everything came full circle. I love this episode. Gray Mouse, what about you?
I kind of feel the same way. I liked the story development, and the payoff at the end of this episode was definitely one of those. For the last, when was it? 14, 15, I think is when they started talking about the mole. Somewhere around that area.
Oh, the mole?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a payoff, 10 episodes later. It was a great payoff.
Yeah.
I really liked that, and I really liked how now I feel that the team is a team, 100%. I mean, they fully trust each other now, up to the point, because I mean there's really no secrets left. And I'll just end it here real quick with Robin being Robin. I knew what I'm a detective.
Yeah, the whole mole within the team storyline actually started all the way back in episode number 10, the Targets episode,
when Aqualad
and Red Arrow are in Taipei. You know, when they're doing their thing over there, and they're handling the whole peace summit with Lex Luthor and everything else. So this particular one, it brings a cap to a very long running storyline that they've storyline arc that they've had going through for more than half of the season. Yeah. It's been pretty much probably the predominant storyline arc that's been there in the background. So when it goes again, the whole season too, especially this particular episode, we talked about how the end of episode number 24, Performance, that was a huge misdirection. There is no mole in the team, all right? But guess what? It turns out the mole in the team is Red Arrow. It's been him all along, all right? Even though he hasn't been there firsthand, the thing is that he's personal friends with, with Robin and Kid Flash and everything else. They're the guy, and Aqualad, they're the guys who he's a close confidant. He's going to be able to relay a lot of the information that comes from them from a very personal point of view. So that right there is paid off in spades. All right. And then you also have the fact that they shove a lot into this episode. Like Theme said, 2 action scenes, not just one big action sequence, but 2 big action sequences and everything like that. I can imagine that if this was the 8-year-old me watching this as a Saturday morning cartoon, I would have been like,
yeah.
If I had pulled a bowl of cereal for myself at the beginning of the episode, it would have been soggy by the time I would have gotten back to it, because shit was just happening so fast. There was just so much stuff that was going on in this particular episode. All right.
Before you go to the next,
go ahead.
I wanted to throw in a little bit real quick. And this mole thing is going to pay off even more later. Wait, there's more. It's not. This ain't the end.
Yeah.
And it just. Wow, you're like, that's what really made this one amazing. And like you said, my Cheerios or my Fruit Loops probably would have, being Red Arrow being the mole, it probably would have spilt.
Yeah.
that was a bombshell. You're like, really? All this time?
And I'd have to say, one of the things that I like about this episode especially is the fact that it literally takes the efforts of all the things that they put in the path, and they lay down as a foundation ever since episode number fucking 1 of this series. All right. Go ahead and show you. By the way, ta-da, here's the big payoff. All right. And kudos to Greg Weisman, and Brandon Vietti, who went ahead and put this together. They really knew where they wanted to go with this first season, and because of that, this is proof positive. If you want to figure out why people were like saying, "Hey, look, this is like the animated series, but for a more modern crowd, for people who are newer to everything," this is the thing that we can get on, and this proves why. not exactly proof of why, but this is one of the things that caused people to sit there and say, hey, look, there's no season 3. We got to fight for one. And why people made efforts to go ahead and do that. All right. Not to say that this episode was perfect. All right. Guys, if there was anything that you did not like about this episode, or if there was any sort of details that you would change, what would you change? Go ahead and Lay that out in front of us.
Wow. Speaking of laid out, this episode was just laid out, and everything was like bam, 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 bam. There was some slapstick that was cool. Robin, okay, Gray Mouse alluded to it earlier when Artemis was explaining her backstory to the team, and Robin is like, I knew. Yeah, he had a little Batman moment. You could figure that out, but you couldn't figure out who the mole was. But I'll go ahead and let that go, sort of. But that's why I was like, him and Batman were fooled all along by Red Arrow. You know, so, I mean, that's just me. But even though that was there, the twist added at the end of it's still a big payoff, though. Gray Mouse, what about you?
I just wanted to add on to what you said. That's not the first time or the last time that Batman and Robin have been fooled by their enemy. For me, I think I'm probably going to be a little cynical here and kind of flip this on its edge. Or on its head, rather. As a whole, up until this point, one thing that I have a problem with this animated series is the fact that if you miss one episode, you're fucked. You have no idea what is going on if you miss one episode. It's just that's how integrated this series is, and it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, but you did say bad things. So in this episode, in order for you to really get that Mike Tyson punch out right in the face, knockout in 2 seconds type of punch out, you had to watch the series the whole way through. And then, like you said, it was on Cartoon Network and at weird times. You know, sometimes it came on, sometimes it didn't all the time. And so you're sitting there, you're guessing when it comes on, right? So if you miss an episode, an important episode, you're like, I feel that this should have been more powerful than it was. We're lucky that we could actually, you know, in hindsight, you know, it's 2020, right? So we actually got to see the series as episode 1 through 25. And yes, that payoff is phenomenal. You know, that's a great payoff. But like I said, you know, I hate to be the only one in here that says this, but I mean, it's the truth. And episode 25 too, I felt like it was very, very fast paced. I mean, you can't even go to the kitchen to get a Coke and come back or you're going to make something. You know, you can't go get a sandwich.
Hey, wait, you were supposed to pour your cereal before the show began.
Yeah.
Or got your Coke. But no, that would be the only complaint that I have. So the complaint I have as a whole, you know, it's very integrated. It's very good writing. But if you miss an episode, I mean, you could miss a secret episode and not be offended. You know that was coming, right?
Yeah.
You could have missed that one. You would have been okay. That was, but that's my complaint. You know, I mean, maybe that should have been waited until after we watched 26. But it's. I figured that just throw it in here now and maybe a little later too. So, Reverend, what about you?
No, I'd have to say your complaints are valid. I'd have to say my only two things that I would have on this, because when I was first writing my notes for this particular one, I had a really hard time going ahead and trying to sit there and find, okay, was there something that I didn't like? Well, in general, I liked the whole episode, all right? But was there something that I could change or that I would prefer to change? There are actually a few things, all right? Or at least a couple. Concretely, at least two, all right? The first thing is that this episode really teeters on following on to that magical wrap-up type episode, all right? Literally, when they go ahead and they do the whole, hey, look, we're all going to show up for Sunday confession, but nobody's going to be hiding behind this silk fucking screen wearing a Catholic, you know, priest habit, all right? Where they're all sitting there confessing their secrets and stuff like that. all of that sits there and it falls in line, and they go ahead and they set that up and they throw that out there in the middle of the episode. All right. It really does feel very much like I said, that magical wrap up Deus Ex Machina, where it's like, well, by the way, everybody's kind of, oh shit, they're all showing up on San Prisca. They're all fucked. All right. That's pretty much the initial impression that you get, especially if this is the first time that you're watching the season. All right. And then you find out, oh, well, they all told each other, beforehand, before they showed up. And, they had enough time to go ahead and not only tell each other beforehand, but come to an understanding, work out a plan, work out any sort of, psychological programming and brainwashing and suggestions and magical curses or anything otherwise. All right. I mean, literally, they were able to find a rabbit, cut off its fucking foot. All right, dry it up and hang it on each and every one of their fucking belts. All right, this is type of Deus Ex Machina fucking magical wrap up hand of God type shit. All right, if this happened at the very, very end of the episode, it would have driven me batty. All right, but it happened in the middle. Okay. Which brings me to the second thing that I think the only other thing that I could have complained about for this particular one is that this episode could have been 2 or 3 episodes easily.
Yeah, it could.
All right.
This is too much going on.
There is so much shit going on in this particular episode. All right. Granted, we know, hey, look, episode number 26, that's the end of the episode. And this is, end of the season. This is what they've been working toward for the previous 25 fucking episodes beforehand. But if there's a real big complaint that I have about this particular episode, all right, as much as I liked it, is that they could have easily worked this into 2, possibly 3 episodes. All right. And that if they would have done it that way, hey, if I was that little kid watching this in the Saturday morning cartoons, I could have eaten my cereal during the meantime. All right. Sure. Yeah. The fucking Captain Crunch would have cut up the top of my fucking mouth. Yeah, I understand that. All right. But, at least the Crunch Berries would have been soggy by the time I would have gotten to them. All right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. But all things considered, if those are the only 2 things that I can go ahead and complain about, that this is, those are earmarks of a really good episode. All right. All right. That'll bring us to our third point. If we don't have anything else that we're going to throw on to the second one. What did you guys pick up on that acts as a reference or a setup to something that's going to happen next episode or the next season, knowing that we've got a whole other season after this?
Damn. What wasn't a prelude to the next episode to this point?
Yeah.
Because, okay, Miss Martian comes clean, Superboy comes clean, Artemis comes clean. Okay, you have that all wrapped up, and okay, Rocket joining the team, great addition to the fucking team. Wow, fucking Vandal Savage in the fucking Watchtower. Everyone kneel before Savage.
Override, Batman 02.
Recognized. Access granted. Vandal Savage A04.
I was the mole? Yes. Yes, you were.
God damn it. What? All right. Most of these episodes had endings that were cliffhangers, but that was a fucked up one.
This one's about the closest to being punched in the gut ending.
Yeah. Because you're sitting there and you're like, these motherfuckers are in his control now. Why do I have to wait until Imagine waiting until next week for the next episode for this shit. That's horrible. That's horrible stomach churning. It's like, fuck. Okay, so is the whole world going to get fucked up, destroyed? What about what's going to happen to the team now since these motherfuckers are under his control? But, I mean, look, I'm taking too much time. Gray Mouse, what about you?
Well, the only person that wasn't kneeling was Red Arrow. I mean, after they came out of the mind control. It's the Justice League kneeling down. That is definitely a punch in the stomach, and that's actually going to set up pretty much whole season 2.
Yep.
Because of the so that's about it. And Rocket joined the team. Yeah. I mean, well, what else can you really say? I mean, it's I think that they could have went on a little bit further for the Artemis and the Superboy and the Miss Martian story saga a little bit longer. But it seems like they knew that the season was going to end, so they just wanted to finish season 1 storyline out and then hit us with the next 2 episodes, or the end of this episode and the next episode to move into season 2. But yeah, so like I got to say is Red Arrow and definitely the Justice League. That's definitely going to carry into season 2.
Yep. Yeah, this particular one, I would have to say is, when it sets up things that are going on to the future, a lot of this stuff is really not a setup to the next episode over. All right. It's all set up for season number 2. All right. It's the next season when we find out that the Justice League, all took pages out of that the Justice League ends up, brainwashed, mind controlled, and under the control of the light, and they do a whole bunch of things, even just a short amount of time. All right. Pretty much the light goes ahead and they turn the Justice League, or at least the 6 core members of the Justice League, and they tell them, go do your best Rick James impression out at some foreign fucking planet a galaxy away, and have you run around and say, we are the Justice League. Fuck your planet, all right? We are just the Justice League. Fuck your planet. We have muddy boots. You have couches. We are going to fucking jump on your couches, all right? And that's pretty much what the big setup is, all right? So, yeah, with this particular one, it's just... the payoff and everything. The only reason why this works is because they have been setting up, the cornerstones for this payoff since episode number 1. All right. From the very first time that Red Arrow went ahead and said, fuck being a sidekick. I'm out of this fucking place. I want to see the goddamn Watchtower. Okay. He's been setting this up from the very fucking beginning. All right. That's the reason why this works out. The big fallout, guess what? We're not going to see in episode number 26. We're going to start seeing that starting season number 2, episode number 1. All right. With that, let's go ahead and let's wrap this one up like we normally do on a scale of yay, nay, or meh. What are your final thoughts on this particular episode?
I mean, look, I'm going to say yay, but I'm going to be like, damn. Okay, this was a roller coaster ride of a whole bunch of emotions going at it, secrets being revealed, battle scenes, closure, and then a big garage door opening to a whole bunch of other shit, leaving you, what the fuck? Like, god damn it. How are they going to get out of it? This is not some Scooby-Doo mystery shit. Everybody was like, how are they going to get out of this?
Yeah.
There's no way that these motherfuckers are going to get out of this. But, yeah, I'm still going to give it a yay. What about you, Gray Mouse?
Yeah, I definitely give this a yay as well. I think that most of the characters in this episode stayed true to who they are, particularly Edward Nygma. Also, even Lex Luthor. Even that was Lex Luthor. That was Lex Luthor. You know, talk you. What do you think, child? If you expect to stop me, child, talk to my lawyer. And old girl,
yeah, he was like young man,
blue Aquaman. No, young man. Yeah, young man. He's like, young man. If you're gonna get in my way, you need to talk to my lawyer.
Like, talk to my attorney. Like, damn.
Talk to my attorney. And old girl, what was her name? Liberty. Mercy.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit. That's the savage of. No pun intended. Of
Lex Luthor.
Of Lex Luthor. That's Lex Luthor to a T. You know, and that was just great. And there's a lot of slapstick in there. You know, if you know the characters, you understand. That's how their character would act. And yeah, I definitely give this a thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Definitely a yay for Grey Mouse. Yeah, for this one's a nay for me. No, that's fucking impossible. All right, yeah, this is a yay. All right, look, if this wasn't the case that I've seen this particular episode for, like I said, the 12th, 14th, 24th, 30th, 50th fucking time. All right, I remember watching this episode the first fucking time, and it was like, no,
yeah,
no,
first aired, and I'm like,
I was like, really,
no.
Fuck, really. All right. Like I said, my biggest complaint about this episode, or the biggest detail that I would change, is that in a perfect world, you would work this out into like 2 or 3 fucking episodes, all right? Which means there is so much in this episode that it's really easy to sit there and work it out into something more, all right? That's one of the biggest, compliments I can go ahead and give it. Not only the fact that they're wrapping things up that have been, seeds have been sown ever since episode number 1 of this series, all right? But they are well on their way to cracking things open and setting the stage for season number 2 that's coming up, Muddy boots be damned, all right? Just wondering who's going to play the role of Charlie and Eddie Murphy in next season. But we'll find out soon enough, all right? It's one of those things where it's like, this is the reason why this works out is because the folks who are running the show, they knew that they had to lay down the groundwork. They had to go ahead. They knew that they had 26 episodes to work with, and they had to make sure that everything was in place so that when it finally turns out, hey, Red Arrow is the mole, this is what the Light is actually trying to go for. This is what their whole goal has been for the whole fucking season. It carries weight because you can see that this is what they've been working toward. All right. And, I haven't even gotten to all the one-liners and other little details and other things that have happened as far as this particular episode,
Gotta love an army of me.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many fucking things to go ahead and get to. Oh, all right, confession time. So who's next? No, I was kidding on that. You know that, right? I mean, there's just.
Damn. Yeah. I'm not a scrub, but.
Ambush. Yeah, I mean, there's
returns.
Yeah, there's so many things that are going on with this particular one that it was just. Yeah, and of course this is yay.
And then you even saw the tech that was fucking bloom tubed.
Yep.
From Apocalypse. So a lot of things came full circle in this episode.
Yeah. And remarkably, they were still able to leave things open enough where there's still a lot of things that you're looking forward to, not just with episode number 26, but with season number 2 going forward. All right. Which I got to say, incredible thing to do. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering it's an animated series and most people don't think. Look, let's just be honest. Most production teams don't even put in half the effort.
No.
All right.
Nope.
Oh, and we found out what the Witch Boy was doing with that biotech as well. I mean, that's
Aquarium.
that's up everything.
Yep.
Close doors and open up a whole bunch of new ones.
Damn.
Exactly. All right. So, given the time that we have left, all right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to wrap this particular review up. That's pretty much where we're at with season number 1, episode number 25, Usual Suspects for Young Justice, that aired out on April 14th, 2012. Obviously, we all loved the episode, folks. If you watched this particular video and review up until this point, thank you very much for doing so. But what we really want to know is, what did you think about the episode? What do you think about our reviews? Are we full of shit? Did we miss something? You can go ahead and let us know by leaving us a comment below. And if you really like this particular review, we'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. If you honestly didn't like it, I won't blame you if you hit dislike. It's all up to you. And if you really like what we do here, you want to stick around to see what we do next, I do highly suggest that you go ahead, turn on your subscription to these particular channels, turn on those notifications, and you'll know whenever either any one of us go ahead and put out a new video, as either ourselves, Gray Mouse, the Reverend, myself, or the theme by ourselves, or everybody as the middle-aged guys, because we'll be happy to go ahead and show up on this on YouTube in front of you, bullshitting about nothing, because that's what we do. All right,
That's what we do.
Yep. With that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this particular review to a close. All about season 1, episode number 25, Usual Suspects. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.